Two known characters get recast. Quark and Mott are still in business, and Bruce Maddox drinks some bad Tranya. Hey, everybody, and welcome to The Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we are doing a review of Picard Episode 5 called Stardust City Rag, directed by Jonathan Frakes. How are you, sir?
Okay, another Jonathan Frakes episode.
Yeah.
All right, I'm good. I really like this episode.
Me too. Let's get into it. First things first, I think maybe the biggest, there were so many Easter eggs in this episode. Look at the picture behind me. Do you see? This was the establishing shot on Free Cloud.
Quarks.
Yes.
I didn't see it. Quarks
that bar that the episode took place in was Quarks.
No way.
Yes, but here's the difference. For some reason, this was another trivioid I almost said, Quarks doesn't have an S anymore. It's just Quark bar. So I don't know why he doesn't like S's.
He got sued. It's a new LLC.
You're right. He's like, that's somebody else.
Oh, they filed for bankruptcy. This is Quark.
The other big thing in this picture is right here, Mr. Mott's Hair Emporium. Now, Mr. Mott was the barber on The Next Generation. There was a Bolian, who was the barber in at least 2 episodes. And so that's really cool that Mott and Quark are both in business at Free Cloud.
I like that. I like that a lot. When I first saw this Free Cloud kind of backdrop and the way they did the city, which I think is awesome, reminded me a lot of Blade Runner. I don't know if you remember the scenes in Blade Runner, but there were a lot of neon shots and futuristic things, and I felt like it was almost a glimpse into like a new take on the Blade Runner.
Right. It's kind of like space spam now, right?
Yeah. And the other thing that I thought of when I thought of Stardust City was Vegas, Las Vegas.
Totally.
Obviously the Stardust is one of the old casinos in Las Vegas. And then when you start to see the way the city looked, and I think they did an establishing shot where they came from an aerial view and kind of brought us down into the scene. Another thing that, shout out to Jonathan Frakes, who, incorporated all of this material. Right. Also used the fancy warp that I liked in the episode before this, which he also directed, I think, which had the warp drive in the background while they were going at warp speed. I like the visual effects of the ship at warp, right?
Yeah, I really, it's a good call about considering it as like a Vegas, like Space Vegas, because it was really well done. And it did look like Vegas, and I think it was supposed to be like Vegas. And you've got the spam when they're just arriving. They're just pulling up. They're getting close, and suddenly the spam starts popping in, and they're like, kind of like when you're driving to Vegas, when you're doing the LA to Vegas drive that we all do, Las Vegas. You start seeing the billboards, right? You start seeing the things, which is like, go to the Rio, go to Stardust, go to whatever.
Yeah,
that's what this was doing. It was so cool. It was brilliant.
It was absolutely brilliant, and I think you're referring to the scene where Aggie or Agnes punches the giant robot, right?
You got to punch him in the head.
You got to punch him in the head. I don't want to punch. I don't want to punch. You got to do it. I thought that was brilliant. At first, I thought that they were playing a video game. I was like, "Whoa, are they playing a video game in their downtime?" But no, it was, as you said, kind of this spam kind of thing, right? This holographic spam that pops up.
Space spam, yeah.
Space spam. And I thought, wow, that's clever. It's a clever idea.
Right. So there's another elephant in the room before we get too deep into this episode. It opens up with a lady that is really digging out this character's eyeball, right? Now, it's kind of like a blink and you miss it thing at first. And I know since you haven't seen Voyager, you may not have recognized this character, but this was actually a known character from Voyager. she says something like, "I'm not leaving without you, Icheb." And Icheb is the character originally played by Manu Intiraymi. Shout out to Manu. But this was not Manu. It was recast for whatever reason, and the character was killed. So it was just kind of like, whoa, Icheb's back. Wait, it's a different actor. Oh, he's dead.
Anyway.
And so it's really interesting. That's the first trivioid I said, which was two actors get recast, or two characters get recast. There was him, and there was also the character that played Bruce Maddox, because he was in an episode of The Next Generation. So he's definitely a callback character, but it's got to be a different actor. It doesn't look like the same guy 30 years ago.
But you mean the guy named Bruce Maddox himself, the character Bruce Maddox, is a recall?
Correct. That character was from a Next Generation episode. Just one episode, I believe, but it was a different actor playing him in this one. So they recast two known characters.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so I didn't know the Icheb character is Manu?
Yeah.
On Voyager?
Yeah, if you probably know Manu Intiraymi.
I do know Manu, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was his character.
Interesting. And that was the one that was performing the surgery or getting the surgery done?
That was the one that got killed. They had the surgery, getting his eyeball pulled out, because he was a rescued Borg that was originally from a race called the Brunali. They had a thing right here. And so he and three other young kids were kind of put under Seven of Nine's wing, because she was a rescued Borg, and now she had these other rescued Borg. The other one was like Naomi Wildman and a couple of others. Scarlett Palmers is the one that plays Naomi Wildman. So anyway, that was that character, and so that's why afterwards she said he was like a son to me. It was like my own kin, because she raised him. He was like a teenager when he started on the show.
Oh, okay, that's what that 7 of 9 interaction was.
Exactly.
That dialogue. Okay, so yeah, I thought that opening scene was brutal and very hard to watch. It was hard to watch. Anytime you watch a scene where you feel like, if I was in that position, I do not want to be in that position. That was what I felt when the guy's getting his eye ripped out. And they made these dentist sounds as they were doing it, like that drill.
Nobody wants to hear the dentist sound.
Nobody wants to hear that drill dentist sound. It saves you from tooth pain, but it's just the sound of it is like nails on a chalkboard. It's like, I know pain's coming with this. And actually reminded me, because it has the same level of suspense of when in The Wrath of Khan puts that little bug in his ear. Remember that scene?
Sure.
And I remember watching that as a kid, saying, "Oh, this is the worst thing anybody could do to you, right?
Have a bug just eating its way into your brain."
Yeah, into your brain, and just eating up the insides of your brain. So right away I thought, oh God, this is like that Wrath of Khan scene. This is like that scene where I have to kind of look away a little bit, because it's too much. It hits a nerve. So I enjoyed that they kind of went hard right away. So I was like, okay, what's about to happen in this episode? And they went right into it. They really went right into it.
Right. And one final note before we bury Icheb or put him to bed, there was kind of a silver lining, because the Voyager fans, as soon as they saw him, they're like, "Yay, it's Icheb! Oh my God!" And then he dies, and like, But the silver lining is that, number one, this is, this was like 6 years after, or so, 6 to 10 years after Voyager returns, because it was like 13 or 14 years in the past before where this Picard series takes place. So we get a little bit of backstory on what happened to Icheb once Voyager returns. And what 7 of 9 said was he was a young science officer, or what the lady said, a young science officer. And so at least we know that means Icheb got into Starfleet. he went into sciences. He became a science officer, even though he was wearing red, which is interesting because red.
He was wearing red, yeah.
Which is supposed to be command or piloting. But either way, that was an interesting little backstory for Icheb. So at least we learned something about him. They didn't just kill him and nothing, you know?
Yeah. And that was a sensitive scene, you know, where he basically asked to be killed, you know, to put me out of my misery. I can't deal with this anymore.
Yeah, but she still could have saved him, right? Could have been like, oh,
you just need an eye patch.
Yeah, just give him a hypo spray and it won't hurt anymore, and then we'll fix you up. We'll probably even give you another eye. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I think Jean-Luc has an eye patch that he's not using.
He just happens to have one. When he's done with it, he'll let you borrow it.
You can use his.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I actually, this was my little eyeball getting extracted kind of implement, because they used like a 3-prong, 4-prong type of thing that sucked that eyeball out. And there's that drill that they used.
That is so good. You wrote 7 of 9 on the eyeball. Like
I did.
They pulled out the eyeball, and as a souvenir, she goes, 7 of 9 was here. Here you go.
You want me to autograph this for you?
$40. You want autographed retracted eyeball?
Exactly. I don't know why I did that, but I did. Music. I did do that. What did you say he was drinking? Trania?
Oh yeah. So Trania is a drink from the original series when Clint Howard, you know, Ron Howard's brother, Clint Howard. He played this funny character whose name I can't remember, and he always wanted to drink Trania, or Trania was his drink. It's some kind of alcoholic drink. And Bruce Maddox had some Trania drink that the lady named Bijay or something like that. Bajazel, that was her name. Bajazel gives him this drink, and I thought it killed him, but apparently it didn't kill him. It just kind of knocked him out. So that was the bad Trania that he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were so many Easter eggs in this episode. So many callbacks to previous series. Another one is theoretical. Some of the fans were already saying that character Bajazel looks a lot like Deanna Troi in the first season.
Yeah, I thought it was her. I was like, oh, this is...
Wow, so you noticed that too, huh?
Yeah, because they have a very similar look. And as a matter of fact, I was like, oh, this is Troi, and she's like turned into a space princess. So I thought it was her for a beginning. I had to really look and like, no, that's not her. Maybe they're trying to make it look like her. I was caught in that whole is that Marina Sirtis? It had me for a minute.
Yeah, and so, but here's what got me thinking about it. So that's the theory, that maybe it is Marina's, or it's Troy's daughter. Okay, let's go along with that for a second. Number one, I don't remember what her eyes look like, but I think Betazoids, which is what Troi is, they have black eyes, like it's just fully filled in. There's not the blue or the brown or the green or whatever. So I didn't notice that, but I wasn't looking for it. The other thing is, if she is Betazoid or Beta Z, then she can read minds, or she could read emotions, and there was no hint of that anywhere. In fact, the only person that was smelling out the lies was her tough guy, Mr. Vup. Was that his name?
Was he? Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah, he was a reptile that has like a ton of, sensory nodes in his nose, so he can like smell people so much, which sounds disgusting. I hate going to the gym because I can smell people too much. And so he can smell lies. So that's why I don't think that it is Troy's daughter, because she showed no signs of being Betazoid. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe they just chose to ignore that, but she certainly didn't say, I sense you're angry, or anything like that.
No, she did not. I didn't realize that there was murmurs or rumors about what character she was or where her origin was. And it was a kind of a surprise to me when 7 of 9 actually knew her, because they didn't reveal that until the moment of the exchange. Um, but no, I thought that was I thought she played a great character, and she was menacing. I liked the dress she had on, which was this like it started with
Right.
this really great shoulder kind of I don't know what to say at least, but it had a very elaborate shoulder piece to her outfit in this see-through kind of chiffon dress. I liked it.
Cirroc, you've got some pretty good knowledge about wardrobe and clothing, man. You've got some hidden talents. This is not the first time that you've mentioned some really interesting thoughts on wardrobes and costumes. You know some stuff, don't you?
I pay attention to the details, and those are the details. You know, when people are wearing really elaborate outfits, it enhances and complements whatever their character is as a behavior wise. It complements their alien race, whatever their race is.
Totally, you're right.
So it's revealing to personality, to flamboyant. I mean, this episode was really good at accentuating people's characteristics with wardrobe. You know, we saw Jean-Luc with his pirate outfit, French pirate outfit.
Can I just say for a second? Now, you already know what I'm going to say here.
Go ahead.
I love Patrick Stewart, and I love Captain Picard, possibly my favorite character ever, and really probably the reason that I became such a big Star Trek fan when I did back in the day. But a few episodes ago, they tried making him speak French, and I'm a native French speaker. I'm fluent in French. Shout out to La France. And
Viva.
Yeah, and his French was not a convincing native speaker. Let's just say that. But now in this episode, he had a French accent, and it was so bad. But it worked this time because he's supposed to be like
acting
comical. Right? It's comical. Right. It's funny. So that was funny. That I thought that was really hilarious to hear him trying to be like, "Oui, oui, this is my French accent."
How do you like it? And I was like, no, this is not going to work. So I actually meant to ask you about it because I knew that you would have a special level of criticism for the French accent and what they were trying to pull off there.
It was very stereotypical. It was very thick. It was very funny. It made me think of northwestern France, the Brest section of France, Normandy, in the northwest, which is the kind of the closest area to England.
Is that what they call it, the Brest section?
There's an area. If you look at the top, kind of like the top part of France, there's like an area that sticks out of the top part called Brest, right?
Okay.
And I mean, it's not the entire area. I think the entire area is called La Normandie or whatever, but Brest is kind of like a region within that. And I visited some people there when I went there, and it was beautiful. A lot of oyster farming and a lot of, they're always out picking up clams and stuff like that.
So don't be surprised if I want to go see the Brest in France.
Yeah, dude, go get Brest and go clam hunting and all that. But it's a beautiful region. So anyway, that was the accent that it reminded me of. I don't know if that's if he was aiming for a specific region, but that's what I thought.
Yeah, it was over the top. I'm sure he could be a lot more subtle with it and try to be more.
It's so funny though.
It was so far. It was so far over the top that everybody rolled their eyes like, "Oh God, this is not going to work."
While you were saying that, I don't know if you noticed, I was looking off. I was trying to find who the costume designer is on this to give them a shout out for their great work. And costume design is Christine Beazelin Clark. Christine Beazelin Clark. And so shout out to her and her team for really, really doing a great job. I mean, so far we're pretty impressed by this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say that another thing that I thought was special about this episode was the entire set of the bar, Quark's bar, I guess they were in, right? Which would have been great to see have a nice little cameo with Quark in it, but that's maybe later on. But sure. I enjoyed the costumes. The people were dressed up in the bar that weren't even really featured. They were just passing by the camera.
Right. And two more quick shout outs to the key costumers. There are two of them. I don't want to miss them. Amy Arnold and Chrissy Callan are the two key costumers. And Dorothy Bullock is key specialty costumer. There's a huge department. They're like 30 people, so I'm not going to name them all. But the key costumers and the wardrobe designers deserve big shout outs. So good job to them.
Absolutely. And, you know, Star Trek is traditionally known for having some of the best costume.
And some of the worst.
Yeah, but also some of the best makeup artists
True.
in television and set designers. So they have to, you know, they usually get some of the best of the best. And in this case, they have chosen wisely once again.
Mm-hmm. Now we've got a couple minutes. Do you want to? What were you saying? Sorry, I interrupted you with the costumers.
No, I was highlighting the other costumes. For example, they had the small girl playing the piano, right, and she had this really shiny kind of hair-like dress on, right? That was really shimmery. And I thought that was cool. I just like the whole outfit, all the outfits they had inside the set. They showed us a few things. There was one guy that they kind of flashed by that had these angel wings kind of pop out at the back.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, right? Once again, gave me the feeling of a Vegas. I just couldn't get past Vegas, right? That's where everybody's dressed up to the max, and you know, this could be the middle of the day or the middle of the night. You don't know the difference,
right? Even then, when they were trying to dress up to fit in as these go-between guys, they didn't dress up in crazy outfits. They dressed up in like 50s Vegas leisure suits or whatever.
Exactly, exactly. I wore down a pimp suit. Because it looked like he was wearing a pimp suit, and I think what did 7 of 9 said, he needs a feather in his hat or
something. Yeah. You know, just a minute left, but before we move on to the next thing, you brought up the little person, the lady that was playing the piano, and I did want to give, thanks for bringing that up, I wanted to give a nice shout out for that, because Star Trek is getting more and more inclusive, and they're doing it in such a good way in that they hire a little person, and it's not to play an Ewok. It's not to play a little person. It's not to play a gag joke. It's to play a pianist. It's just a person playing the piano and doing something beautiful, and she was really playing it. And they handle these things so well. They also have in Discovery, like they have a man in a wheelchair that you see in a lot of episodes. And so now we've got this lady, and so it's not about their disability. It's not about what makes them different. They're just people. They need a pianist. She plays the piano. I thought that was beautiful. I thought that was great. So shout out to them for always leading the charge there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it gives the audience somebody to look at and say that could be like me. And that's one of the things that Star Trek does so well, is they give everybody somebody to say that could be like me. Right. You know, is everybody who's watching can identify with the character and say, oh yeah, all right, well then, you know, they've included this guy, they've included these people, and so it's really a diverse casting. And shout out to the people that are really making sure that they include people and they are staying true to their motto of, you know, all inclusiveness, and let's do the best we can.
Mm-hmm. And doing it with such tact and grace, like again, that she wasn't playing a short alien. She wasn't playing a joke or a leprechaun or anything. She was just playing a character.
She was the entertainment for the bar. She was the show. And I'm glad that they did that.
Yeah. So let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back. Then we're going to talk. I want to talk about a couple of things. One is the trivioids that made the cutting room floor, because there's so many good ones in this one. So it was hard to narrow it down. And also, there's an actor that's kind of jumping out at me now by the 5th episode. So we'll be right back on the 7th. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the 7th Rule with Cirroc Lofton, a.k.a. Jake Sisko from Deep Space Nine.
Hello.
I'm Ryan T. Husk. We are doing our review of Picard, Star Trek Picard, season 1, episode 5, called Stardust City Rag, directed by Jonathan Frakes. And we have a couple items that I should have mentioned at the very beginning, a couple corrections. Number one, last week I said I called the actor Santiago Cabrera, the guy who plays Rios. I called him Miguel Cabrera, who's a baseball player.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
and I was like, wow, I know Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah. Somebody in the comments said, just all he said was Santiago Cabrera, and I was thinking, I was like, what did I say? And I was like, shit, I think I said Miguel Cabrera. My bad.
Yeah.
That's a baseball player. So Santiago Cabrera, our apologies, because he is killing it so far.
He is killing it. And
speaking of Santiago Cabrera, we said that the pilot sounded like he may have been some kind of Hispanic or Mexican or something like that. Our friend Peter Karuba, who was a guest on one of our episodes last year, he was the one that had all the ships above him on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Peter Karuba out in San Francisco was in the Navy. He was a linguist in the Navy. And he says the pilot was speaking Catalan. And Catalan is very similar to Spanish. It's in the Pyrenees Mountains. It's kind of like what they speak in the Catalan region, which is northeastern Spain and southeastern France, kind of the area around Barcelona and all the way into the little country of Andorra in the Pyrenees. So if that's the case, and we have to believe him because he's a linguist, that's pretty awesome, speaking Catalan.
Wow. Yeah, that is pretty awesome. I couldn't fact check this Catalan if I try.
Yeah, I know. I read it before. It's very similar to Spanish.
But I like this guy, man, this actor, Santiago Cabrera. Mm-hmm. He's doing a phenomenal job. He's playing the Rios character.
Right.
And I think he's killing it. He's just great at what he does. I enjoy watching him. He's one of my favorite characters on this new incarnation.
Right.
I like his whole pimp suit, trying to pull the one up on Mr. Vup, right? And that whole interaction there was pretty special, I thought.
Right, and the play back and forth between the setup and the play out. When like Raffi was setting them up, and it's kind of showing what's going on and how she put some sedatives in him or whatever it was, and like it was
right,
brilliant.
And I liked his face when the sedatives kicked in. He just became so cool and relaxed.
Right.
And it was awesome. I liked the way he played it. I mean, he's playing the hologram character as well, right?
All of the hologram characters, all the different accents and everything.
Yeah. And so you really, he's everywhere, right? And I like that about him. I really think he's doing a great job. He's doing a lot of carrying his load. He's bringing it hard, and I really enjoy his scenes. Yeah.
No, he's carrying his load and bringing it hard. I agree. One quick thing. One thing I do want to hit is that we found out what 7 of 9 has been doing. A little bit of backstory on her is they said that she was part of the Fenris Rangers. So I guess Fenris is a place, it's a star system, and Rangers. And what they do is ranging is helping people that need help. So that's what she's doing. She's a vigilante now. 7 of 9 never went into Starfleet. She didn't go, get herself a bar or anything like that. She became a vigilante. She joined the Fenris Rangers. And so that's what she does. But one thing I did want to mention was the actress that plays Raffi. What is her name? Do you remember her name offhand?
I do not know her name offhand.
It's Michelle Hurd. That's right. I know that. Raffi Musiker, played by Michelle Hurd. And to be honest, when the character was first introduced, it felt a little forced to me. Like she's watering some plants, she's smoking some others, she's kind of grumpy, she's kind of this and that. I wasn't really sure. Now by this 5th episode, I am convinced this is a phenomenal actress. I've never seen her in anything before, so I didn't know anything about her before this. But she is incredibly good, and I'm really enjoying watching her, not just the character, but the actor portray it. I don't know. Have you ever seen her in anything before?
No, I've never seen her in anything before, but I do think she's doing a great job. We got an answer to the question of why she wanted to go to Free City,
Right.
Free Cloud,
Mm-hmm.
and it finally, emerged in this episode. She has baggage. She has
Big
loose,
time.
yeah, she has some loose ends that she wanted to tie up, and you can see that a lot of what happened in her life was destructive to people around her.
Mm-hmm. Addiction, and they thought that she was, imagining things with all these conspiracy theories because of her addictions, or maybe her addictions got worse because she got fired from Starfleet. Now she has, a estranged son who's married to a Romulan with a half Romulan baby on the way, and they don't even want to see her. Yeah, it's tons of baggage.
Yeah, and the line that stood out to me was, and I'm paraphrasing, but she says something to the effect like, "I needed to save those lives. There were, all these people were going to die," and her son is like, "Well, you forgot about my life. What about my life?" And we often, I think that's a decision and dichotomy that people in leadership positions are faced with.
Right.
They have the whole world to carry on their shoulders, but they also have to take care of home. And one of the people that this reminds me of is Nostradamus, the famous
French guy.
Was he French?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nostradamus was, we all know him for telling fortunes and seeing the future and making these predictions. But before he was doing that, he was also healing people with herbs.
Right.
And he was going around because at this time, I think they had the bubonic plague. People were dying. And he was going around curing people, teaching them how to wash foods, wash hands, and prepare foods, and also take basic herbs.
Right. He was the first guy, actually, that put a sign in a bathroom that says all employees must wash hands with warm water.
That's exactly right. Before California made it a law. That's right. But I only say that because his own family died of the plague while he was going out healing other people. And it's kind of, it reminds me of this same kind of story. She's out there, Raffi's out there going out trying to save people, and her own family is falling apart, right? And I think
it's a really good point.
Mm-hmm. Those are the things that we're all faced with when we're trying to do good and things get out of hand.
Yeah, because really that kind of position is about prioritizing, prioritizing your time, your focus, your energy. And she's out trying to save millions of lives. That's probably going to take up a lot of your time.
Exactly.
You may not have enough time for your own son. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a difficult thing to do because, we're all faced with this paradox between time and money. How much time can we dedicate to something versus, it's time and money. So it's always that thing. Mm-hmm. We're balancing out. So,
yeah. So let's talk a little bit more. Or were you going to finish up on that? Did you have another thing to say?
No, I also had the guy who had the halo. It looked like he had a halo on top of his head inside of the bar scene.
Okay. Uh-huh.
It was right next to, right when they showed the guy with the angel wings popping out.
Right.
And then
at Quark Bar.
Then they showed somebody walking across the screen with like a halo type of thing floating around above their head. And I thought that was just another cool little effect that I hadn't seen before.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about Mr. Vup, because this was a new species as far as I know, and even if I wasn't sure, I think they kind of confirmed that we've never heard of them because they explained what kind of species it was. If we'd seen them before, they wouldn't be like, it's a Klingon. They're a kind of race that's really mean. Likes to drink wine, you know what I mean? So they explained he's a Betanari. So that's really cool for those of us that like all this aliens. He's a sentient reptiloid with a really good sense of smell. And part of that encounter with Rios was when he was like kind of saying, well, are you lying to me? And he says, well, how do I smell? And he says, truthful. And basically he says that he could smell bacon on him too. He says, you smell truthful and like you ate bacon for breakfast, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, I liked it. I liked him. I thought he was menacing. I thought he was really effective in playing the role he did, which is the muscle. I thought it was a great thing. He actually came in the beginning of when we first see him. He is getting instructions to kill Bruce Maddox, right? And he's so excited about it. He's like, "All right, great, yeah,
time to do it."
Yeah, and then she's like, "On second thought," and he's like, "Oh, God, she's probably not going to get a chance to kill this guy, huh?" So I thought it was pretty. It shows how formidable he is.
Yeah, he died pretty quickly and easily, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, bummer. I wanted to see a little bit more of him.
Me too. I thought he was an interesting character. I liked the fact that he had these his superpowers. Funny because a lot of the aliens have their own superpowers, right?
Right.
Quark superpowers making a whole lot of money,
and they can hear really well.
They can hear really well. Odo has his superpower, his shape shifting,
Plastic Man.
Right. So we look at these, Worf and his fighting skills, and they all have certain superpowers, right? This guy's power was sniffing out the truth and the lie. I thought that was effective and added more attention to the little exchange that they had.
Right.
What I liked about this episode as a whole was the fact that now we finally moved away from setting up the story, and
we're on the ride.
Yeah, we're on the ride now. Now we're in action. We're in the middle of the adventure. We're starting the road. A lot of the opening episodes was just about setting the tone and letting us know where we are, and a lot of that has been done now. So now we can get into the meat of watching whatever's going to happen. Still not too sure about this Ezra character, the ninja character with the sword.
Oh, Elrond or
Elnor. Yeah, I'm still not sold on the Elnor yet.
I think I mentioned this last time, but one of the things he's going to provide is he's going to provide that Data style comic relief, the character that doesn't get the joke, the character that doesn't understand nuance, that is brutally honest, and because he has that absolute candor, right? So this absolute candor kind of thing makes him just brutally honest, where somebody's going to say something, he's going to say, my feelings are hurt by that or something. We're going to go, ha ha, that's our Elnor, or he's going to say, or like throughout the episode when he says, are we still pretending? Like that innocent, truthful charm,
Yeah. You guys are pretending.
Nobody's pretending anymore.
Yeah, so he is doing that. It still hasn't grown on me yet. I'm still getting used to it, because it's kind of awkward that he's such a badass in fighting and gets so clueless about other things. But it is that absolute candor that you talked about. I also thought that it was kind of interesting when Raffi goes to visit her son. He's in a building that looks like, I think it says family planning on the side of it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So they're actually at the doctor's office right now.
They were at the doctor's office, literally, and it said family planning and something else. And I didn't know exactly what else.
And he just told his wife, he's like, "You go in there. I'll wait outside and give you a ride home."
Yeah. There with him. Yeah, don't worry. I got it from here. Yeah, I mean, there was who is this Annika?
Okay, Annika is Seven of Nine's real name. Before she was assimilated by the Borg as a little girl, I don't know if it's 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, something like that. Her name was Annika Hansen. And she was on a little ship with
from Sweden. From Sweden, I know her.
Yeah. And so that was her name. And so apparently now that she's back and everything's back to normal, she has not gone back to Annika Hansen. She's sticking with 7. So I guess she identifies now as that, as like a rebirth. And so she thinks she's 7. Like she'll never be back to Annika anymore.
So this other character knows her as Annika? Like, does she know her from then? Or?
I think she just knows who she is. She knows her real name and she knows what she goes by, Or maybe she is a Betazoid. I don't know. Maybe. But no, I think they have history, so she obviously knows her well, and so she knows what her real name is. She knows what her story is. You know.
Yeah. I like the moment where that exchange happens with 7 of 9 and this other woman, and Picard clearly doesn't know what the hell's going on here, and he lifts his eye patch up, right? And he's like, "What the hell is going on here?"
Right.
He's like, "This is not what you told me was about to happen. You got a whole other plan, and you know that you're ready to execute."
Now I do have one pretty nerdy bone to pick here. You know, when nerds are known to be nitpick artists, and so I'm going to nitpick something here. So the EMH, the Emergency Medical Holographic Program, he helped Rios pull the shard, the metal thing out of his shoulder. He pops up anytime somebody has like a psychiatric thing, like when
Agnes.
Yeah, when Agnes was left alone, he pops up and he says, "Hey, you know, what's the nature of the psychiatric emergency?" And she's like, "No, I'm fine. I don't need a sedative. I need to stay clear of this." So he knows right away. That's what an emergency doctor does. You know, they pop in. They're like, "What's the problem?
Right.
What do you need?" Right.
Right.
Yet, when they bring Bruce Maddox, who's half dead, into the medical bay, shouldn't the EMH been the first thing to pop up? Please state the nature of the medical emergency. That's what they do. He should have popped up and started taking care of this guy. And then Agnes goes, "Anyway, I'll check in with you once the doctor's done." Or, "Doc, do you need me to hand you a scalpel or whatever?" But instead, he just doesn't even pop up at all until way later. He's concerned with her psychiatric help, you know what I mean? Rather than worrying about the actual first medical emergency that we actually have there. So that's definitely something that didn't work. It didn't land for me.
Yeah, I can see what you mean by that. And then the other thing that was going through my head was, so now this hologram is technically a witness to her murdering Maddox.
Right. And so we know why they didn't want him to appear. The reason why we didn't want him at first was because, as expected, she was going to kill Maddox. And if he was there taking care of Maddox, she couldn't kill him.
But why was she going to kill Maddox? I missed that.
Yeah, well,
unless they're going to go into that later.
It did feel like she was going to kill him from the second that scene started. Number one, because the EMH wasn't there helping. So that was our first tip that she was going to kill him. Kind of like when they kept saying he, and so we knew it was going to be a female character that they say last episode, and it was 7 of 9. Yeah, I definitely, and I'm sure a lot of people thought, uh-oh, she's going to kill him. There's something that tells you she's going to kill him. And
what made me think she was going to kill him is when Picard is talking to him, and she's kind of listening in the background, not making herself part of the conversation, but just like, okay,
waiting for her time to strike.
Yeah, what is he? What is he going to tell her? And I hope he doesn't disclose too much information or something.
Right.
That's what I was getting to. I felt like she was listening to say, let me hear what he says to him, and if he tells her too much, or if he gives away something, then I'll have to deal with that coming up.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a very good point. That's very good, yeah.
But clearly she knows something, right?
Yeah, so that's what it was. She killed, obviously, they were in love. You know, she was 30 and dating an 80-year-old, and they were eating cookies and did cookie crumble kisses and stuff like that. So they have a very powerful past, but she kills him anyway. And the explanation she says to him, "I wish you knew what I know. I wish I didn't know what I know." So whatever it is, we don't know. They haven't explained it, but we realize that she's not doing it because she's sadistic. We realize she's not doing it because she hates him. We realize she's not trying to get revenge. We realize that she's doing this against her will because she feels like she has to.
Yeah, it's still not enough of an explanation for me because they obviously leaving it a mystery. I'm thinking to myself, like, that's the person she was romantically involved with, so it didn't make sense to me. And I don't know what she knows because they didn't really say what she knows, but obviously she's implying that his existence leads to something bad down the road, or
Yeah.
whatever knowledge he has could lead to something bad down the road. I don't know what she's talking about.
Or maybe she's protecting him from being captured and tortured or something like that. But either way, she has to kill him. Maybe here's a theory that's being bounced around, is that maybe she is also a synth, and she found out that she's a synth. And so now she has to kill him because he would have been able to stop whatever her mission is. And she has this mission that she has to see through, but she knows in order to see it through, she has to kill him because he would prevent her from achieving that mission. But whatever it is, we're going to find out within 5 episodes. That's for sure.
Yeah. The other thing that I thought was maybe she had been co-opted by this Starfleet, who's working with the Tal Shiar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought maybe they got to her and she's like a double agent pretending to be on Picard's side, but she's really spying from within.
Right. So it's one of two things. It's either that she's involved with that big conspiracy, or that she's involved with kind of her own thing. Where maybe she's aware of them, maybe she isn't, but she has some kind of motivations that none of us knows quite yet what that is. But she obviously is doing it because she feels she has to, for the greater good of something.
Yeah. We didn't talk about it much, but there was a moment there where 7 of 9 hands Picard her business card. And what did you think of that?
That is a business card. It's cool.
Yeah, it's
like,
kind of like
thank you.
Yeah, it was like a microchip, thin, kind of cellulose-looking business card. It was pretty cool. I thought it was interesting.
Do you think we'll see her again this season?
Yes, I do think we'll see her again. I think she, I don't think that you can have a big Borg story without having her involved. And clearly, this whole thing is going to be centering around the Borg, right? Or what they call the artifact now.
Yeah, great name for it.
Yeah, so I think that she's going to be instrumental at some point when either this Borg cube wakes up, and this is all speculation on my part, but I think that at some point the Borg gets reactivated, or they come back looking for their abandoned artifact.
That would be awesome.
I think all hell's going to break loose.
Mm-hmm. Do you think? So we've got Hugh, we've got 7 of 9. Do you think we'll have another Borg? And even Picard was assimilated by the Borg at one point. Do you think we'll have who is the other Borg? Naomi Wildman, who now would be somewhere in her late 20s or even 30s or something like that.
I think so. Like I said, I think anything that's Borg related is going to get popped back up. One of the things that they brought up in this particular episode, when Mr. Buck was doing an analysis of 7 of 9, he said she has the most original Borg parts still inside of her. And it just reminded me, like looking at a car and seeing if it's got all the original car parts.
Yeah.
And it made me think, what are they doing? Are they collecting these parts? What do they need all these original Borg parts for?
It's valuable. They're collectors. And this is basically, it's a whole planet of quarks, of business people and traders and smugglers and arms dealers.
Right.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I liked it. But I do think she'll be going away for a while, and she'll be brought back later on. They still haven't gotten much into Soji's character in this episode. So we didn't see Soji. We didn't see her Romulan lover.
Nerl. There was no Nerl today. No Nerl.
There was no Nerl. And really no real showing of the artifact. So they kind of stayed away from that so they can get into this storyline on Stardust City, a.k.a. Las Vegas.
There was another guy that got a on our other series, when we're reviewing Deep Space Nine, we do the non-appearance mentions, which is anytime somebody gets mentioned in an episode that's not there. Like if Quark says, "Oh, my brother Rom," whatever, that's like a non-appearance mention. And so we like to talk about it and follow how many mentions characters get when they're not specifically seen in that episode. A non-appearance mention we got in this one, I feel like they should be called like non-series mentions because they're not even in the series at all, but they're still mentioned. Like Quark is mentioned, Mott is mentioned, and they're not in the series at all as far as we know.
Yeah.
Also, Dr. Noonien Soong was mentioned, and Dr. Noonien Soong was the guy that created Data. He is the father of, the cybernetics, basically. So he was mentioned. I feel like he was mentioned in the first
earlier on.
Yeah, two.
First couple episodes, yeah.
And this one. So he actually has two. So we've got a couple minutes left.
So Bruce Maddox didn't create Data then.
No,
he
correct.
he did the Soji Daj creation, right?
Right. He like furthered Dr. Noonien Soong's work. And in fact, it sounds like he worked with Agnes and Dr. Soong together to do all that work together. Like he said, you, me, and Soong, we did it together kind of talk. So maybe we'll see. No, I think he's dead. But there's something in there.
I had a question for you, and this was about when 7 and 9 pulls out the phaser and shoots this other woman in the bar, right? When she blows up and disintegrates, she kind of blows up into this like red particle cloud. Mm-hmm. Is there anything to that, or is that just looking
just that kind of phaser? All the phasers do different things. So whatever that weapon is, I'm sure in the writer's notes, it's like an Orion phaser or a Klingon disruptor or something like that. There's something, but I don't know what it is. It's just a different one.
And then the other thing was, I thought she was a real badass when she took up the guns and started shooting her way out.
Yeah, she's just like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, I love that. Actually,
yeah.
I was like, okay, oh, she's a badass.
Yeah,
she's double fisting, right?
Right, like double fisting at a bar, it happens, right?
It does happen. It does happen.
So the last things that we were going to say, there was the trivioids at the beginning didn't make the cutting room floor, was Eye Patch Picard has a bad French accent. We covered that. EMH doesn't show up. Wait a second. There we go. EMH doesn't show up during a medical emergency. We covered that. And Quarks and Motts are on Free Cloud. Cover that? I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
Cool. This was a great episode.
And I completely missed the Quarks part. I think that's pretty amazing.
So did I. But then somebody, all it takes is one nerd to catch it, and they tell everybody, and it spreads like wildfire. And so, yeah, we got it. This one was shown to us by our good friend and supporter, Mr. Don Crandall, up in the Sacramento, California area. Somebody showed it to him. He sent it over to me, and now everybody knows.
These guys are good, man. Shout out to all the people watching and listening out there and helping us along.
Great. So let's check out the next week. Looking forward to it. We got to run. Thanks to Cirroc Lofton, a.k.a. Jake Sisko, and Russ Hasledge at Odyssey Radio. Thank you all out there, all of our associate producers. As always, remember the seventh rule.